On episode 30, I went over some of your thoughts on whether or not rock music was here to stay in the 2D music industry, as well as starting to be a music genre more loved by solo artists of seiyuu background. It is interesting that most of you are excited about rock music making a comeback and see in rock music an opportunity for male seiyuu to shine and showcase their talents for everyone to see and enjoy. I do love that about rock music, however, there's another music genre that only genuinely talented singers among seiyuu are able to shine in. That's, of course, jazz music. In this episode, I will go over what you think about jazz music, the hybrid jazz pop, as well as your expectations for 2021. Let's kick off this episode of Seiyuu Lounge. Welcome to Seiyuu Lounge. I am your host Vanessa, and today's topic is Small Changes in the 2D Music Industry, Part 2. As you may already be aware, I left a couple of questions on YouTube on episode 27 about the 20 best songs by male seiyuu in 2020. If you haven't checked it out, please do. There's plenty of awesome music in there, as well as a playlist for you to enjoy those songs time and time again in the same place. Some of you were kind and left a couple of interesting comments to my questions about the seiyuu and 2D music industries. Just like in the previous episode, a shout out to Grecia, Iris and Isabel for your awesome replies. I will go back and forth between your replies to cover the two remaining topics in this episode. If you didn't get your opinion featured on this episode but would love to be featured in future ones, don't forget to leave comments on Seiyuu Lounge's episodes. Every episode has a question for you to answer, so go ahead and just do it. From time to time, I'll go over the comments and craft episodes in which you can also share with everyone your passions and opinions on relevant topics. Let's explore your thoughts on jazz pop, generic pop, and your expectations for this year. Jazz pop replacing generic pop as the dominating style for 2D music projects. Jazz pop was big in 2020, with groups such as Trigger, Rivale and U-Make shifting their focus onto that fusion style, one that capitalizes in jazz's elegance and adds pop's catchy lyrics and progressions to it. As a result, jazz pop showed a mature side to all groups that had a go at it in 2020. At the same time, however, on a different note, Shugo Nakamura embraced jazz rock, Soma Saito embraced bossa nova, even if for one song, Tetsuya Kakihara and Nobuhiko Okamoto as a unit explored jazz funk, and Makoto Furukawa went the purist route and brought swing and bebop jazz to the table. In 2021, Yuma Uchida's Spinner Roulette was a great attempt at jazz pop. In a way, finding someone as Uchida relatively popular as a solo artist. Performing jazz pop raises my hopes that we'll get to listen to more of the fusion music genre this year, and hopefully jazz pop can start being a standard or at least more common for 2D music projects and solo artists. For jazz enthusiasts like myself, it is interesting to see the seiyuu and 2D music industries finding in jazz a way to portray elegance, refinement, allure, and maturity. It feels like jazz is the equivalent of grown-up music for 2D music projects, being a choice for when those projects want a sexy vibe or showcasing maturity from a group. Jazz is certainly a music genre that enhances the natural vibe that many male seiyuu have. Just listen to Makoto Furukawa performing jazz. That is the stuff. Jazz is all about improvisation and having fun playing with unique rhythm signatures, something that most people dread, as jazz is particularly difficult to learn in whatever instrument you may want to. Not impossible, just really tricky. Drums, guitar, and contrabass are particularly tricky to grasp. Back to what I was saying. Jazz seems to be finding its way into the 2D music industry, and blending with pop has been the most common since 2020. On the topic of jazz pop replacing generic pop as the dominating style for 2D music projects, commenter It Is said, "Jazz music is kinda new to me, since I really liked Makoto Furukawa's songs, or even the soundtrack in the anime Sakamichi no Apollon that I finally watched in 2020. I'm really glad that this genre is growing in popularity, and I hope it will continue. I'm going to catch up on Jazz-On." Sakamichi no Apollon is such an awesome entry point to jazz. It is fun and easy listening, and I sure hope more people check it out and, in a way, fall in love with the charm that jazz music has and actually end up searching for jazz music. Jazz-On is the only active 2D music project that explores jazz music. Their cast is awesome, having in its ranks two singers that I rate pretty highly when it comes to performing jazz music, Makoto Furukawa and Shunichi Toki. Both have massive experience with the music genre. They breathe and exude the flamboyance, fun, and elegance of jazz in their performances. Of course, this doesn't take away the talent that the rest of the cast has, but Furukawa and Toki stand out for how comfortable they are in that environment. It's like second nature to them. As you may imagine, the Jazz-On franchise is not that popular among the masses because, well, it's jazz music. Then the character designs aren't your typical ones made to attract the otome demographic, and this one is the main drawback in my opinion. The music is not available on streaming platforms worldwide. At the time of recording this episode, Jazz-On's music is indeed available on Spotify, however, region locked. I don't know about you, but here in Europe I can't listen to their music, which is a pity. The project has two groups, one with a purist take on jazz, so expect a lot of swing and flamboyance in there, and a hybrid take that mixes jazz with other music genres. This may be a good entry point for those of you that are still not comfortable with jazz music and first want to get familiar with the genre before making a deep dive into the purist version of it. On topic, commenter Grecia added, "And jazz music has been gaining spot in the industry. I didn't know I enjoyed jazz music until Makoto Furukawa did his debut, and I found myself listening to him again and again. This genre isn't common, but the few songs we have are all amazing. I think it suits well a lot of seiyuu voices and they can show their skills, as it is kinda hard to make a great performance that has this relaxing vibe without losing stability. Also, it is important to convey the feelings with this style, something very important to me in a song. It's a great chance to make something different and to show us talented singers, so I hope the industry doesn't let go of this chance. I am not an expert, but this is what I feel." Gracia, you really nailed the whole thing about jazz music. I see that you really enjoy and appreciate music on a deep way, which is awesome. About what you said, it is really cool that in a way Makoto Furukawa is showing his fans a whole new world with his jazz music. He had the guts to embrace a music genre that isn't common, much less popular, as his greeting card as a solo artist. Most seiyuu presented with an opportunity to be a solo artist would venture towards pop, the most common music genre, or rock, but never jazz. Makoto Furukawa was the first, and that was a genius move. Not only you can tell that he thrives in the music genre, but he also has a deep knowledge about it and is incredibly familiar with the music genre. being able to write lyrics that fit it like a glove. You mentioned that in jazz it is important to convey feelings. It really is. Although most people are familiar with instrumental jazz, the fact is that there is plenty of jazz that features a vocalist on the spotlight. When you pay closer attention to jazz music, you notice that it has a multitude of layers of instruments, not all following the same vibe, but all following the same groove. In the quieter versions of jazz, swing, for example, vocals stand out without an issue. However, in more complex, upbeat takes, bebop for example, it is insanely difficult to have the vocals pop in the middle of all that brass fanfare, contrabass grooviness, fast guitars and piano melodies. Makoto Furukawa makes it simple. Better yet, is a really good singer that knows how to convey feelings with a lot of ease. Those that listen to Furukawa's solo music will immediately notice that you are, indeed, listening to a singer with a crazy amount of technique and talent. I also agree on the fact that the few iterations to jazz music that we have are all pretty good. I was expecting a generic take on the genre, but producers and composers have gone wild with jazz music, and we have quite the awesome batch of jazz songs to listen to. Those are still few in comparison with pop music, but as I've said before, quality above quantity. Commenter Isabel analyzed the place for jazz pop in the music industry by saying, "As for jazz pop, I think it is slowly making its place into the music projects, but I don't think it will end up replacing generic pop in its entirety though. Generic pop is a tried and true method for most franchises, so I don't think it will go away completely. I just think jazz pop, given the nature of jazz, allows for more freedom in the song-making process, making most of the songs unique and grabs our attention as something new, while still remaining palatable to most audiences given it being on the more popular side of things." As much as I'd like to say yes, jazz pop is going to definitely replace generic pop, it is, as you say, generic pop is a tried and true method that has made franchises like Utapri and Saidam extremely popular. Why stop something when it works, am I right? Still, for jazz to be making its way into pop music and into high-profile 2D music projects and solo artists that include the Idolish 7 and Ensemble Stars' franchises, as well as Makoto Furukawa, Shugo Nakamura, Yuma Uchida, Suma Saito, U-Make, just to name a few that have been making good use of jazz and its subgenres. And it is noticeable in 2020 that there was a sort of trend going on among them in which jazz was a must to be featured in their music. A bit like how pop artists all featured at least a song with rap parts in it to cater to the whole Hipgnosis Mic, Paradox Live demographic. This is something that I believe bodes well with the chances of jazz pop taking a seat as a good alternative to pop music. If not from the get-go, at least when projects and solo artists want to show a mature or elegant side and deliver performances filled with emotion. Jazz pop is an opportunity to add an element of surprise to the music of groups or artists that already have what you'd call a trademark sound to them. It is colorful, pretty refined, no matter if you're going big on bebop speed and intensity, or if you're embracing bossa nova or swing that ride more on a slow pacing and emotional side. Jazz's unpredictability may be the key for people to take an interest in the music genre. By blending it with pop, it is a great way of presenting pop fans with something new, but also give them a taste of what jazz is all about by grasping its main points, however, never going full-on complex on them. Many will find the music genre pretty fun to listen to, others may find it boring. Jazz has these things. It's not an easy music genre to enjoy, like for example pop is. Its complexity may throw some people off, and I should say it's quite the moody music genre, but hell if it isn't awesome, and I'd love more people to enjoy it. I am also of the same opinion as Isabel. Jazz pop may not end up replacing generic pop, but it sure will be more common from now on. I only hope it's not just a trend that will fade away quickly. There's no music genre like jazz, really. We need this color and flamboyance in the music industry for male CU and 2D music projects. Now time for your expectations for male CU and 2D units in 2021. On episode 29, I covered 8 of my expectations and in some way, predictions for male CU and 2D units in 2021. Those ranged from who may be releasing a full-length album this year to who I'd love to see making a solo debut, or even how the CU and music industries should adapt to the current restrictions to holding live shows and the sort. That was quite the long episode, one that counted as well, with plenty of talk about 2D groups changing and finding their own sound. On another note, live streaming should end up being a component to live shows in Japan. It is a perfect failsafe to possible on-location tour cancellations, can cover up for losses for CU and 2D projects in terms of merchandise sales, and enables international fans with the opportunity of watching their favorites without having to go broke to visit Japan to attend the live shows. By now, you may already be pretty familiar with my opinion about the music in 2020. It was beyond amazing, the best year since 2013 in terms of music quality and variety. 2020 was a really inspired year for solo artists of CU background as well as 2D music projects. 2D groups finding their own sound is something that makes them unique. At the same time, downsizing and betting on having fewer groups under their wings is proving to be something that, despite not being a trend right now, may be the direction that future projects will follow. Less groups and a better focus on the music quality will lead to better projects overall. Producers, composers, and lyricists can focus on delivering good music consistently instead of an array of songs that ultimately sound the same by the end of the day. On this topic, commenter Iris said, "I don't have precise expectations besides new, good music to listen to. I look forward to new releases for all the units and CUs mentioned on episode 27. There's also Tsuki Pro Season 2 coming this year, the second division rap battle of Hypnosis Mic, and A3 already announced new solo songs. Perfection Noise Volume 3 is already a big hit for me, and Volume 4 might be one too. New good music to listen to is already a really good expectation. If 2021 is half as good as 2020 was, it will already be an awesome year. Let's hope, however, that it tops 2020 and delivers even more exciting music catering to a wide variety of tastes. Like you, I am excited for Tsuki Pro's second anime season. For me, it means more music, at least 3 new songs by each group, 1 opening song and 2 insert songs. And if the music has the same quality as the first season, it will be a good year for us, Tsuki Pro fans. The Hypnosis Mic franchise may be a hit or miss for me in this second division rap battle. Some of the matchups will be weird, that's for sure, and ultimately the quality of the songs will be determined not by the vocals, but by who was chosen as the composer. I can tell already from the composer's list that I won't be enjoying some of the songs. Still, I look forward to seeing if my expectations are exceeded, and who knows, I was wrong all along and everything was quite awesome at the end. A note that I don't listen to previews of the songs before I review them, to avoid biasing my reviews. So I may be wrong in my assessment here, as I haven't listened to a thing so far. However, there's no doubt that the Hypnosis Mic franchise may pull off a great streak of releases like the Before the Second Division Rap Battle CDs released in 2020. I sure hope so. I am in need of good punchy hip-hop from this franchise. Also, nice to see Perfection Noise being mentioned. This is such an underrated project that deserves more attention. So far, all music was good. There were some minor setbacks in terms of music mixing and mastering in the first two songs, but the franchise has already improved upon that and has been consistently releasing good music, with the solo tracks released so far being certified bangers. Sena Ichijo's Turning Point and Akito Sakisaka's Down to Zero stand out as the best entries so far. Those will be Volume 2 and Volume 3. I sure hope that they announce more music and solo drama CDs for this year so that we can have a lot of awesome music to enjoy. Their unique blend of pop and R&B, rock, electronica, ballad, and jazz is really something that was never attempted before by a 2D group, so I am quite excited about Perfection Noise as a franchise, as well as Noise Nova, the group stemming from this project. Commenter Grecia pitches in saying, I don't know what to expect in 2021. 2020 was so good that I'm afraid this new year doesn't meet the expectations, but I hope this year proves me wrong. I'm especially keeping an eye on young projects, Hanadol for example, or Pionix from Tsuki Pro, as they have shown a great quality and can be better. I think this industry has left behind groups with only popular seiyuu and has started to care about the harmonies and the whole sound. And of course, I'm expecting more projects and seiyuu artists to make their songs available worldwide on streaming platforms. I feel you on this. After 2020's perfect year for music, it looks like it will be a difficult feat for 2021 to top it and exceed our expectations. So far, the music released in January 2021 was okay, however, nothing special. Let's see what the rest of the year holds for us. Also, good to see a fan of Movix projects. Tsuki Pro, Pionix, Hanadol, and Vezrock. I have always felt that international fans for many of these franchises are a rare sighting. Like commenter Iris said, we have Tsuki Pro's second anime season in the works, which will arrive with at least 12 new songs in total, 3 for each group. Pionix were created exclusively for the Neo X Light series, now that I know it's pronounced Neo Cross Light series, so I don't know if we're getting more from them soon. What we may get is new music from Pionix's groups, Tobari and Infinito Zero. Still, two awesome groups exploring rock's subgenres while delivering impressive performances. The Hanadol franchise has turned into an unknown for me. Shun Horie joined the group and the lineup now has 7 members, which means less lines for members that don't have lead vocal duties. I still hope the group impresses because I love their unique sound and their lineup. Lolodi need new music. Don't know if a solo series or a new set of albums, but we really need to hear more from them. Univers was a jaw-dropping album that deserves a fitting follow-up. The quality for all these groups can improve a lot this year. After all, we're talking about projects by Movik. If there's a thing they're known for, is for their sound to always be evolving, and a lot of experimentalism to lead the way. Vezrock are also changing their sound bit by bit, so it'll be interesting to hear what they pull off this year. I sure hope your expectation comes true. We do need more projects and seiyuu artists to have their music available on worldwide streaming platforms. The trend started in late 2019 and carried over to 2020. It is safe to say that there will be much more music available on streaming platforms within this year. It seems that Kiramune is thinking about it, after noticing Muirino's fans streaming his album Life Is. Only time will tell with them, but it is still interesting that they are thinking about it at the moment. In Japan, Tsuki Pro, Dear Vocalist and Ensemble Stars have their entire repertoires available on Spotify, so I am hoping that this year that rolls out to us international fans. Once again, thank you to Grecia, Iris and Isabel for participating in this episode by sending insightful comments. Awesome to read your opinions and seeing that there are around the world those of you that geek about male seiyuu and music like I do and care a lot about both things. If, like Grecia, Iris and Isabel, you're a fan of male seiyuu and 2D projects' music and want to be featured on Seiyu Lounge's episodes, don't forget to leave comments on YouTube. From time to time, I'll pick some of your comments and go over your exciting ideas, insightful opinions, and even explore themes in different ways thanks to your participations. Comments are open and I welcome you to participate. Twenty 2021 has kicked off pretty quietly and so far there is still a lot we don't know. I sure hope that the 2D music industry and seiyuu artists deliver the same quality they did in 2020 or even better. There sure will be new projects and solo debuts that right now we're not even aware of, but I wish those are more specialized in the music genre or a blend of genres or simply put on a vibe. I hope those projects give a new twist to pop, rock, hip-hop or EDM. More than just being another project that emulates Project X or Y, I hope the new projects will have their own identity. Although this is an unpopular opinion, I hope that any new 2D music projects that happen to be launched in 2021 don't have massive lineups, instead focusing on quality instead of quantity. It's long overdue that more music is made available on streaming platforms worldwide, and I am positive about this. We will get more music available in 2021. Music labels have to work licensing deals with those platforms, so it ends up taking a bit of time, but we will get there. Live streams available worldwide also seem to start to be the go-to way for male seiyuu solo artists, but it is still a massive question mark for 2D music projects. Let's see if 2021 delivers everything we expect and even goes off script and pulls off unique things that will make us look back to 2021 with the same fondness as many of us look back to 2020. Now tell me, what is the thing that you love about your favorite 2D music projects or male seiyuu solo artists? Is it their sound, the aesthetic, the emotions they convey, the lyrics, the whole package? Let me know in the comments below, leave your comments as complex or as simple as they may be, and you can be featured on upcoming episodes of Seiyu Lounge. If you enjoyed this episode and don't want to miss the Hand That Feeds HQ's weekly male seiyuu and music-related content, hit the subscribe button. I'll return next week with another episode of Seiyu Lounge. Thank you for listening and see you guys around.